excited to dig into this next topic with you.
Yeah, me too.
Last time we debunked some of those common misconceptions about the U.S. Hispanic market
Right.
and discovered just how diverse and influential it really is.
For sure.
But we left off on kind of a cliffhanger, talking about the rise of third-generation Latinx brands.
Yeah.
These brands are really shaking things up.
Absolutely. They're challenging the status quo, often taking an English-first approach.
Right.
But they're still honoring those cultural nuances that resonate with Hispanic consumers.
One of our sources describes them as culture creators,
Right.
not just culture reflectors.
I love that.
So it's about shaping the narrative,
Yeah.
not just following it.
Exactly. And they're proving that you can be both mainstream and culturally relevant.
Yeah.
One example that really stood out to me is Cite Family Foods.
Oh, I love their grain-free tortillas.
Yeah.
Their packaging is so vibrant and eye-catching.
It is.
You see it in more and more stores these days.
Yeah, and their story is fascinating. It started with a family recipe inspired by a grandmother's struggle with autoimmune disease.
Oh, wow.
And they turned that recipe into a business.
That's amazing.
And now they offer a whole line of chips and seasonings and hot sauces, all rooted in those family traditions.
It's such a great example of how food can be such a powerful bridge between cultures.
Yeah.
You know, they're not just selling a product, they're sharing a story,
Right.
a heritage,
And a commitment
a commitment to healthy living.
to healthy living. Exactly.
And it's resonating with such a wide audience.
It is.
Another brand that caught my eye is A Dozen Cousins. They offer those ready-to-eat beans and rice inspired by Creole, Caribbean, and Latin American cuisine.
Delicious.
Right.
Yeah, they're tapping into a sense of nostalgia, but also introducing those flavors to a whole new generation of consumers.
Right.
And we can't forget about the impact these brands are having in the beauty space.
Oh, for sure.
Like Rina Rebelde, for instance, is all about celebrating Latina beauty
Yeah.
with their bold makeup and skincare products.
Yeah. I've seen their ads.
Yeah.
I love their message of self-expression and inclusivity.
Right.
It's not about covering up flaws.
Right. It's about...
It's about embracing your unique beauty.
Exactly. That's a powerful message.
It is.
And it's something that resonates deeply with Hispanic consumers.
These brands are redefining what it means to be Latinx in the U.S.
Yeah.
They're challenging stereotypes, breaking down barriers, and inspiring a new generation of entrepreneurs. So what's the secret sauce here? What are these third-generation Latinx brands doing differently that's driving their success?
Well, they're digital natives, so they're leveraging the power of social media
Right.
influencer marketing
Yeah.
in a way that feels authentic and engaging.
One of our articles uses the phrase cultural fluency to describe their approach.
Ooh, I like that.
It's not just about translating English copy into Spanish. It's about understanding those nuances of the language, the humor, the cultural references.
Exactly.
And they're not afraid to experiment with new platforms like TikTok,
Right.
where they can connect with younger audiences in a more playful and engaging way.
Absolutely. But it goes beyond marketing savvy, though.
Uh-huh.
These brands are also tapping into this growing sense of cultural pride and identity.
You know, one of our research reports highlights a study that shows that Hispanic millennials and Gen Z are more likely to identify as Hispanic or Latinx than previous generations. It's like they're reclaiming their heritage and wearing it as a badge of honor.
I love that. Yeah, and those third-generation Latinx brands are providing them with products and experiences that reflect that pride.
Yeah, it's such a brilliant strategy. They're tapping into a really powerful emotional current.
For sure.
And consumers are responding.
They are.
But what does this mean for those more established brands, the ones that have been trying to reach the Hispanic market for years?
Right.
What lessons can they learn from these up-and-coming trailblazers?
I think the biggest takeaway is that authenticity is key.
Yeah.
Hispanic consumers, particularly those younger generations, can spot a fake from a mile away.
Totally.
They want brands that genuinely understand their culture, their values,
Yeah.
their aspirations.
So it's not enough to just slap a Spanish translation on your packaging.
Right.
Or hire a few Hispanic models for your ad campaign.
Exactly.
It's about a much deeper level of engagement.
It is. It's about moving beyond those one-size-fits-all marketing strategies. You know, Hispanic consumers are not a homogenous group.
Right.
They have diverse needs, preferences, experiences.
It's about recognizing those nuances and tailoring your message accordingly.
Exactly. And it's also about building relationships.
Yeah.
Not just selling products.
Right.
These third-generation Latinx brands, they're creating communities around their brands.
Right.
And that's something that traditional brands can learn from.
One of our sources talked about the importance of co-creation.
Oh, yeah.
It's about involving Hispanic consumers in the process, asking for their feedback, and making them feel like they're part of the brand story.
That's huge.
It's such a powerful way to build trust and loyalty.
Yeah.
And it's especially relevant in this digital age where consumers have more power and influence than ever before.
Absolutely. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Brands need to be willing to listen and learn from their Hispanic consumers, and consumers need to feel like their voices are being heard.
This has been such an insightful conversation.
It has.
It feels like we've peeled back the layers of the U.S. Hispanic market and discovered a whole new world of possibilities.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground, but our deep dive isn't over yet.
No, not yet.
In part 3, we'll shift our focus to the digital landscape and explore how brands are leveraging social media, influencer marketing, user-generated content to connect with Hispanic consumers in those really meaningful ways.
Sounds good.
It's a topic that's constantly evolving.
It is.
And I'm really eager to unpack it with you.
Me too.
So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive into this fascinating world of the U.S. Hispanic market. Welcome back to our deep dive, you guys, into the U.S. Hispanic market.
Our final part?
Our final part. I can't believe we're already here.
I know, right?
Time flies when you're having fun and packing insights, right?
It really does.
We've covered so much ground, haven't we?
We have.
From shattering those outdated stereotypes to really exploring the rise of those dynamic third-generation Latinx brands. Yeah. It's been an eye-opening journey, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But let's shift our focus now to the digital landscape.
Okay.
Because, let's face it, the way we connect, consume, and even shop has been totally transformed by the online world, and the Hispanic market is really at the forefront of this digital revolution.
Absolutely. And, you know, our sources really emphasize just how digitally savvy this market is. They over-index in mobile device usage, social media engagement, and even online shopping compared to the general population.
One statistic that really jumped out at me was that Hispanic audiences are twice as likely to purchase products they discover on social media.
It's huge.
It's incredible.
It is.
It really shows how crucial it is for brands to have a strong digital presence. And it's not just about being present. It's about being relevant.
Exactly.
You know, Hispanic consumers are looking for content that speaks to their interests, their values, and their cultural identity. I was reading an article about how some brands are kind of moving away from those broad national campaigns, and instead they're embracing a more targeted approach using like regional and local data to tailor their messages to specific communities.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think this is a smart move.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider just the diversity within the Hispanic market.
Yeah.
You know, a message that resonates in Miami might not land the same way in Los Angeles.
Right. Totally.
So by using this regional data, brands can create campaigns that feel more personalized and authentic.
Yeah, it's like they're speaking the local dialect, so to speak.
Right.
But beyond language, it's also about understanding those cultural nuances, the humor, the references that resonate with a particular community.
Absolutely.
And that's where I think those micro-influencers come in, you know?
Yeah.
They have this deep understanding of their audience, their interests, and their cultural background. And they can really connect with consumers on a personal level in a way that big national campaigns often struggle to do.
I agree.
It's all about trust, isn't it?
It is.
Consumers are way more likely to trust a recommendation from someone they follow and admire than just like a generic ad.
Yeah.
And that's especially true, I think, in the Hispanic market, where word-of-mouth recommendations carry a lot of weight.
One of our sources even describes it as like the comadre effect.
I love that.
It's the idea that Latinas in particular really rely heavily on their network of friends and family for advice and recommendations.
So it's not just about reaching the individual consumer. It's about tapping into that network of influence.
Exactly. And that's where those online communities come in, you know. Brands are realizing they can't just be broadcasters anymore. They need to be facilitators, creating spaces where Hispanic consumers can connect, share their experiences, and influence each other.
You know, one thing that struck me when I was reading through these sources was the power of user-generated content.
Oh, absolutely.
It's authentic.
Yes.
It's relatable, and it comes from such a trusted source, other consumers.
Exactly. It's a goldmine for brands.
Yeah.
You know, when a brand shares a customer's story, a real-life testimonial, it builds this level of trust that's hard to achieve with traditional advertising.
Right.
It shows that they're not just about selling products.
Right.
They're about celebrating their customers and their stories.
And that resonates deeply with Hispanic consumers who place such a high value on community and shared experiences.
Absolutely. It's about making those consumers feel seen, heard, and valued.
Right.
And it's about recognizing that they have a powerful voice in shaping the brand narrative.
It's a two-way street, right?
It is.
Brands need to be willing to listen and learn from their Hispanic consumers, and those consumers need to feel like they're a part of the conversation.
And I think that's the key takeaway from our entire deep dive into the U.S. Hispanic market.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a demographic.
It's right.
It's a community.
A culture.
A culture.
A force to be reckoned with.
A force to be reckoned with. And those brands that embrace that reality, that are willing to go beyond those surface-level generalizations and really connect with this dynamic market on a deeper level. Those are the ones that will thrive.
Yes. Beautifully said.
Thank you.
So as we kind of surface from this deep dive, what's the one thought you want to leave our listeners with? What's that final nugget of wisdom they can take with them?
The U.S. Hispanic market is not a trend. It's a transformation. And those brands that embrace this transformation, that are willing to adapt, innovate, and connect authentically, they will be the ones that write the next chapter.
Oh, I like that.
Of this incredible story.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive. But the exploration, it never truly ends. So keep those brains buzzing, keep those curiosity fires burning. And keep diving deeper into the world around you.
Happy diving.
Happy diving.